This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to New Jersey Satellite Studio, where we show you the flavor of life here in the District of New Jersey. Everyone, and welcome back to INCRadio New Jersey Satellite Studio. Today we will be talking about leadership, especially leading with love. And to one of our mom leaders in residence, over to you, Maricel. How's everything going over there?
Everything's good, Jeff. Good morning to everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're watching from. So, sometimes we forget that leadership is not about it's not all about head, right? It's also about the heart. So how can traits like compassion, care, and empathy contribute to the success of organizations and communities? And how can we do it, Leah?
Oh, that's a big question, Maricel. Hopefully, the next 45 minutes we'll be able to help each other out and encourage one another to lead more with love. So we're actually talking to our friends, Naima, who's with us today, but also our friend all the way from Tampa, Florida, Robert Tapales, who we have to mention this because this one, we're going to look to him for a lot of our answers today. Vice President of Operations and Development for a digital healthcare company. Wow, that's a mouthful. And before we say hello to him and to Naima as well, we want to ask our live viewers, there in our live stream, what is an example of leading with love from your own life? I can think of a lot of things. The first thing that comes to mind is food, because I think of my parents. They feed us a lot, so I think that's an example of love. So, all right, tossing it over to Maricel for our first question.
Yeah, so we have a lot of topics to cover. So let's get started with the very first question. When you hear the phrase leading with love, what comes to mind? I'll start with this. So when I hear the word leading with the phrase leading with love, what comes to mind is it's an organization whose leaders lead with love by being empathetic, being compassionate, and kind to the team members. How about you, Bob? I'll start off with you.
Oh, great. Thank you very much, Maricel. When you talk about leading with love, I think leading with love is really about the way that you approach how it is that you're going to be working with. I don't like to use the word lead. It's working with people, because as a team or as an organization, you're working together towards a common goal, common mission, right? And leading with love to me simply means that the intention that you have always keeps in mind the feelings of the rest of the team that you're working with and how they feel and how they're going to react and how the decisions that you make are going to impact them. Because truly, in order for them to be able to excel and do the things and accomplish the things that they want to, they've got to feel that you are there and that you actually have their feelings in mind as well.
Well, Bob, just listening to your answer, I can really tell that, you're a leader in your company. I can really tell how much love you have for your company. So thank you for that answer. How about you, Naima? What comes to mind when you hear the phrase leading with love?
When I hear the phrase leading with love, Maricel, it's assuming the best. Coming from that perspective, those sense of norms and values, assuming the best before you pass any judgment or have anything there, always assuming the best and coming with that mindset is, to me, leading with love.
Absolutely. Being a teacher, you should have lots and lots of love for these little children, right? Like I don't know how teachers do it, but teacher is one of the professions where you can really say that you lead with love. How about you, Jeff?
It's interesting that we asked this question because you see the question every once in a while. Would you rather be loved or feared? And especially when it comes to leaders. And the best answer, as we know, is to be loved because when you love, brother, Robert. Love how you say that you like to say working with people as opposed to leading them because one means that you're out front and people are behind. But when you're working with people, that means you're standing shoulder to shoulder with them and you're moving as a unit. And that's what it means to me. So it means that you're in the same line as everyone. We're all together working towards the same goal.
Yeah.
So
Do
How
I
you
about you,
have
have
anything
Marisol?
to add, Leia?
Oh yeah, I have a question. So we have the vice president of operations, we have a teacher, we have I think everyone here has is part of a team or has led a team. So when you say leading with love, do you come out and tell your team I love you? Is that how? Do you say, "Hey, I love you,"
And then you
Marisol?
start off every day with a group hug.
There are going to be certain circumstances where there probably can work. Probably not in mine. It's the word love is, I think, something that is more about a mindset, and it's not necessarily something that has to be expressed either physically or something that you go into a boardroom, for example, and you start the meeting off with "I love you all," because then all of a sudden everyone's wondering what's about to happen. But it's more in your actions and how you express yourself, and as long as you factor love in your decision making, that's going to come through to your team because they're going to see that you're taking into account, because the job of a leader really is to help the people that you're working with meet the expectations, right? To help them work at their highest. That's your job. And if you can do that by understanding their feelings, then the fact that you love them is going to show without you having to actually say the words.
You're saying this, Robert, but at the same time, I'm thinking, isn't the goal of my leader to get us to the finish line, to the goal, to that financial status? Get the sales in, make
Mm-hmm. You
so.
you have a mission, right? Everybody has a mission. We talk about missions and visions and project objectives, right? And that is the job of the leader, is to help each of those individuals contribute to achieve those goals that we've established. And as Jeff put, there's two approaches to leadership. One is to lead by fear, one is to lead by love. I've just never taken, I've never really followed the path of everyone's going to do what I say because they're afraid of me. Because then at that point, it's not really something meaningful.
Okay, so I think we can move on to our next question, Jeff. It kind of ties into it.
Yeah, thank you. And so, Robert and Naima, and also to the crew, have you been involved in an organization where the leader led with love? And if so, can you give us an example and please describe? So, Robert, we'll start off with you.
Sure. I think well, for me, and this, we talked about this a little bit in the pre-show, and I think it's really important to understand that all of us, we're not born with a sense of leading with love. It's not something that's instilled. It's not part of our DNA. It's something that you develop. It's part of the environment that you sort of grow up in. And for me, it came a lot later in life. I mean, your parents, they raise you a certain way, and that's the way that we typically will adopt a lot of our, emotional cues and things that we'll typically carry into life. But leading, for me at least, was something that I discovered later on, and that happened when I actually became a member of the Church of Christ. As Christians, we generally talk about leading with love, but being able to see it and experience it in the organizations that I belonged in the Church of Christ, and the various organizations and projects that I've worked in, is watching some of those leaders that I admired the most, in watching how they made decisions and understanding that a lot of those decisions, tough decisions in some cases, were always done out of love for the brethren. And to me, that really resounded with me. And I carry that same sort of approach to leading, even at work, helping to lead my family. It's made me a better leader, head of a household in my household. So it's helped in so many different aspects.
Wow, so it's so many different dimensions, and it's not just in one aspect, and it's not just that it stays in that, it's not compartmentalized, but it actually
Right.
spills over, and that's one of the beautiful things about love, right, Robert?
Right. I mean, you can't lead with love at work and then go home and hate on people. It's that's not how it works. You lead with love, and that leading with love is something you carry on. It becomes a part of your persona. It becomes a part of your being, and it's just the way that you are. And but learning that, I think, is key at some point.
And actually, before you toss it over to Naima, how would you learn it, and what are your recommendations on how to learn that?
Well, it's not so much how to learn it. It's by finding leaders that you admire and finding those characteristics. They always say that, right? You find the characteristics in those that you want to have in yourself, and finding a leader that follows using the same values. And it's so easy for us here in the Church of Christ, because here those values are spelled out for us, right? We hear about it, they're reinforced. And as long as we stick to those values and we use those values as sort of our compass, then it's easy to identify who are the leaders that are using that. And for me, that's the way that I was able to pick that up, was just by watching them.
Wow, so there's so much to pack there, and I love how you mentioned that it is the compass, because that compass points the way to go. And where does that compass start from? Starts from love. All right, Naeem, how
Absolutely.
about you? Have you ever been in an organization where you had leadership with love? And if so, please let us know how.
I guess I can start by saying that I've been in different organizations that have showed love and have not showed love. But I think my relationship and my conversation around love had to be revamped, and also rediscovering what love is, not superficially, but really like intentionally as well as like authentically. So for me, I had to really redefine that for myself. And trust was always the factor for me when you're having love, like trusting love as well as like it being consistent. I was always seeking, once I discovered that trust was an important part of love, that I needed to continue to have that consistency. And I always would seek organizations that had consistency. And if they didn't, I would leave. I mean, it's just being honest. I'm just, it had to have consistent love, and also they have to lead with that. So I want to also piggyback around Brother Robert. Like for me, that was like my focus with church, being a convert, being someone who actually was interested in having that at the forefront. I think because in anything that you do, if you don't have a foundation, you're gonna fall. And I think God is the first thing that we all should strive to have as a foundation of love, so that we can lead with love and we're all filled up. Like our cup is not, it's not empty, and we're trying to give something that we don't have. So for me, love was trusting love. It was also consistent love, and then I had to redevelop what love is to be able to even lead with love. So the church administration definitely has all those qualities for me, and that's what stands really true for me when it comes down to leading with love.
Wow, that's really awesome. And thank you for that, Naeem, especially as someone who is a teacher, and you affect the lives of others directly. So, and I really appreciate how you said that it comes with that sense of authenticity, which actually comes from inside, which really echoes what Robert's saying. So that's so amazing. How about you, Marisol? Have you been in an organization where you felt leadership with love?
Well, currently I am in an organization where the leader leads with love, but I do want to share the opposite, to the other side of the coin, because I want to share to the viewers how important it is to love what you do, and to stick with the workplace that you really love. So I want to share where I work in an organization where I didn't feel valued. So it's miserable. I was miserable the whole time. So it was way back when I gave birth to Gabriel. I found this rehab that's like a stone's throw away from my house. So like I literally can walk to it. So I'm like, this is the perfect place for me. At lunch break I can go home, I can nurse Gabriel, and all those nice stuff ideally, right? But then the leaders, the manager and the director there just didn't value me as a worker. And I hate going to work. Like I would wake up in the morning like, oh no, I'm gonna go to this place again where I'm not valued. So I only lasted for like 2 months, and I talked to the one who hired me. I said, because they have many different places, I said, can you assign me to another place? And I didn't mind driving 30 minutes to that next place because that's where I feel valued. So that's I want to share that answer to that question, because if you don't love the work that you're doing or where you're working at, walk away from it. It's not worth your time. It's not worth being miserable and not being happy.
I have a follow-up. What could your supervisor have done, Marisol, to help you feel valued?
Can you say that again, Leah?
What could your supervisor have done to help you feel valued?
Like respecting my needs. Like, if the reason why I chose that place was because I want to be close to my son, because I just gave birth, right? And the director there, I didn't feel like she understood me. Like, she would assign me to other places where I'm too far away, or would give me a workload that's too much for me, like making me come home to work late, things like that.
Okay. But you've all had powerful answers. I'm a little thrown because of course, I didn't expect all these great answers. But um, oh, we have so much to say. Okay, I want to move on to the next question. But actually, I want to pause and ask the parents. Um, you know, uh, love at home, I think, is given. But as children, as we get more mature, to our parents on the panel today, when there is a disagreement, when your children are misbehaving, when they make decisions you don't agree with, or they get into trouble, how do you continue to let your kids know you love them, even though you might be angry or disappointed or sad? Is there, for our parents that are tuned in, is there any advice you can give or something that you've learned that perhaps you wish you had known sooner? So things might have been calmer at home. So we're going to start off with Robert, because his kids are older. And actually, he's just a new grandfather. So congrats to you. So what is your advice or your experience, Robert, on this?
Well, I think I'm going to have to separate the answers, right? Because as a grandparent, we all know that it's going to be completely different because the child is just going to be spoiled. So, grandchildren can do no wrong. So that's not probably the right example. But as far as raising kids, it's hard to imagine that, all of the things that will happen as you're raising your children, especially when they get into the middle school, teenage years, where oftentimes you might start to feel that there's this rebellious nature that's starting to come out. And it's understanding that the way that you're approaching the discipline or the instruction or the things you're trying to do for your children or for your family, you don't allow their behavior to change that, because that behavior is a reflection of their feelings. They may be acting up. That doesn't mean they don't love you. They may be not doing what you're asking them to do, but it doesn't mean they don't love you. And in the same token, when you're trying to lead them in the household, you have to understand that whatever decisions you're making out of love for them, and it never should be in reaction to their behavior. So, like, if you wanted to do something that you were trying to guide them in, right? You were trying to give them advice, because kids, when they're in high school, they're going to come to you. Hopefully, your kids come to you for advice, right? But you always want that advice to be sound and based on what's best for them, and not because you want them to be your best friend, not because you're trying to get back at them for not listening to you when you told them to do the dishes. You're giving them that advice because you have to separate in your mind what is best for them. And that's what real love is, because you may have to make decisions or give advice that may not be something favorable to them, but you're doing it because it's what's best for them.
Well, that sounds like a lot of tough love.
That also sounds like a lot of microphones just dropped right now.
Yeah. Well, but then again, then the grandbaby comes in and they can do no wrong. So, whatever you want.
How about you, Maricel? As a mom with two teenagers, well, one teenager and one preteen. Oh, okay. I think she's having some technical issues. All right, we'll come back to her for her mom advice.
So she's thinking about her answer. So she's
Okay, so we're gonna so from our discussion so far, I've heard that love is about leading with love is about developing trust, right? From Naima's answer,
I love that, by the way.
trust,
That's
trust
yeah.
and consistency, putting God first. As Christians, we know God's love. I mean, it's everything, right? Nothing is impossible. God is always the solution. So whatever problem you have, He's always a solution. Also, from Maricel's answer about not feeling valued at work, it seems like
Mhm.
communication and also finding alignment with your leaders or your teammates, your coworkers. And then I don't know how to capture or summarize all of your answers, Robert, because it's just overwhelming. It's so much wealth. And
I'll close. Let me close my thesaurus. Hold on a second.
I'm gonna have to rewind.
But I did, if I could, I wanted to hop on something really quick that that Marisol brought up about her not feeling valued at work, and I wanted to hop on this because obviously I've pretty significantly sized team, and I have managers under me that lead teams, and I try to instill in them the understanding of how their team members need to feel valued, and value comes from each team member feeling that their voices are heard. That they need to be able to, and maybe their voices are heard, but the decision doesn't change. But at least if they understood that their voices were heard and that they had a voice, then that allowed them to be able to feel at least that, the value is there, my thoughts were considered, and that my leader, even though he may not say it, loves me in their own special way, because they've at least allowed me that opportunity. And I think that that's such an important component when you're leading, especially in the workplace, because in the workplace, it's different, right? For us as Christians, we all share the same values. We all follow the same moral compass, right? But at work, you're talking about a much more diversity, right? And there's this whole era of trying to make sure that everyone feels included. That's where I think a lot of quote bosses can help to make their employees feel valued, is by allowing that voice to be heard.
I agree completely, and I think we'd have to had to do a show about generations, leading different generations, if we went down that rabbit hole that you just mentioned. But I agree completely. It is the era about being considered. But I think in Maricel's situation, sorry to keep bringing your situation up, I think you would have left anyway, because if your supervisor said, I can't change you because this is the need that you're filling, then you would have left anyway, even if you had that tough conversation about, this is not what you're not giving me what I want. And then your supervisor says, well, we can't give you what you want. I hear you, I understand this is your concern, but we just can't do it. So the situation wouldn't have worked out anyway. But since you're back on, as a mom, quickly, Maricel, is there any tips or anything you want to share about having to I guess those tough love moments with your boys? Like how do you lead and correct them, but also not have them feel like you don't care about them, or all those negative feelings?
Yes, that's a tough question to answer because every day I'm still learning. I only have 14 years of experience in this parenthood, right? But every day I'm still learning, and like every age, like Robert said, every age is different. Like especially when they become a teenager. I do have a teenager and a twin who's acting like a teenager as well. So I think piggybacking on, or like in addition to Robert's answer to that question, is that I think you have to understand the behavior, like what's causing the behavior, and not just giving consequences to that behavior. Like a talk to your children, like why are you like this? Maybe they're experiencing something in school and they're bringing it home. So you have to understand, like for every action, there's always a reason why they're doing that. So just have an openness to your children. I love how Robert emphasize if they actually open up to you. I love that my children, they do open up to us. Like when they had situations with their classmates in school and they tell us the story and when we talk to the parent of that other child, you know what the parent told me? You're lucky that your children open up to you because their children don't open up to them. So having an open communication with your children, I think, is one of the best ways to, to deal with these situations.
Wow. I love all the advice that we're getting. Okay. I'm looking at the clock, so we're gonna scroll down and gonna go to I think an important question. So the question to everyone is, why is it important to experience being part of a group that is led by a leader who leads with love? So we've heard synonyms. Love is also compassion, empathy, consideration. It seems like it also translates to respect. And consistency. So we're going to go to Robert first for this answer.
Yeah, well, and I think the reason why it's important, and Naima brought up a good point, which I said that I loved, which was trust. It's important to be in an organization where you feel that you're loved, that you're valued, because that's what inspires trust. And if the people on your team trust you, if the people in your congregation trust you, if the people in your family trust you, it becomes easier to lead, right? It's one begets the other, because if they trust you, then they'll allow you to make decisions that they may not understand completely, but their trust and their faith in your decision making, because you've allowed them to trust you through the love that you've expressed, makes leading a lot easier. A team that doesn't trust you is a lot tougher to lead because it requires a whole lot more effort.
Wow. Okay. Before we unpack that, we're going to go to Naima for her answer.
Brother Robert, like spot on. Trust is it, Brother Robert. You're absolutely right. Like, I mean, for someone to actually check in on your well-being, for them to actually create a goal with you and your goal and your performance, and then hold you to that, you got to trust them, and you got to trust that they actually really care about you and your product, what you're putting out there. And once you have that, I think everything, like you said, with God, with everything, your community, with your family, I think it all comes together. So definitely, like, leading, we're in an organization that leads with love, trust is the number one factor, I think.
All right. What about you, Marisol?
Well, it's very important to work with a leader who's leading you with love, because if you have a leader that loves you and you feel that, you are more committed to helping the organization reach the goals, right? So you are aligned with your leader because you know that you are valued. So it's very important to have a leader who's leading you with love.
Okay, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm glad, Marisol, you said it, because that's exactly what I was going to say. Because if you have a leader that's leading you with love, they feel that you're shoulder to shoulder with them, that, they're there in the trenches with you. You're going to go that extra mile. You're going to give that 110%, because if they're not leading with love, if they don't have the trust that Naima mentioned, if you don't have the trust in them that Naima mentioned, you're not even going to give 100%. You might even give like 90, 80, 75%, but a leader that leads with love, that's with you, that understands you, and that, is there, and you know that they're really with you. They work with you. They're with you. I can't repeat that enough. You're all going to go 110%. And think about that. Like, when you add up all of those 110%, you're going to get even more and you're going to even further than you would have normally. So, that's why, and also to be in that environment, because, as people, we're not isolated. You're going to be absorbing that. What you take in, you'll also give out. So if you're experiencing having leadership with love, you will also be a leader with love.
I think a lot of our viewers are asking themselves if they're part of organizations or companies where their leader leads them with love. So I'm going to pause here, and I have this really tough job of trying to call all this together. So just to give everyone some ideas about, if you're thinking about, is my organization, is my supervisor leading with love? Some things that they will do with you is they will communicate with you. They will help you look into personal development. They will give you feedback about what you can improve on in a way that doesn't shame you, that's encouraging. They might even sign you up for some programs or suggest some seminars for you to attend. This is not, hopefully not disciplinary, but it's to encourage you to level up in your professional life, which also spills over to every aspect of your life. And they'll also talk to you and ask you how you are, and they'll actually wait for your answer, not the "Hi, good morning, how are you?" and then you like they'll actually pause and make eye contact and then wait for your answer. So those are some small things that is a measure of whether or not your company, your organization is leading with love, with compassion, and cares about you and values you. I mean, to be seen is priceless. To be acknowledged is priceless, right? It goes a million miles, even if you don't get that raise, but they shout you out and say, "We appreciate that you stayed, an hour for overtime, et cetera, et cetera." So, and I also just wanted to mention what Jeff said about, when you feel like you're being led with love, you go 110%. But if you don't, you have 70%, 60%, 50%. And then you have this called quiet quitting, which is a trend in the job market right now, where people just do the bare minimum just to collect the paycheck. And so it sounds like that's what Marisol was going through at that job that she mentioned, which happens in life, right? So you have to keep going. All right, we have to move on to our next segment, which is our shout out segment.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
Happy birthday. Congratulations.
Dad.
I have to shout out.
Mom, Dad, best friend.
All right, we're gonna go to Robert first.
All right. Thanks so much, Leah. And first of all, thank you for having me on the show today. This was a lot of fun, being here with you guys and learning a great deal. The shout outs I've got today, honestly, are really focused on people that I obviously see and have followed and have led with love. And that begins with our beloved executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. Truly an inspiration, has taught us and the church as a whole what it means to be a leader and to lead with love. So thank you so much, Bo, for that. We'd like to welcome here in the District of Florida, Brother Lowell Newcomb, our new district minister, and Sister Melka down here. We're so happy to have you here in Florida. Big shout out to you. I know that he spent some time up there in Jersey, so he's found a new home down here in the Sunshine State. And then lastly, a shout out to my Jersey peeps there, to Brother Ray and Sister Mary and Del Rosario, long time friends. We love you down here and we miss you and wish you guys the best. And thank you guys here at INCRadio New Jersey for giving me this privilege to be here today.
Thank you so much, Robert, for joining us. You're always welcome on our show. Your insights always valued here on INCRadio New Jersey. All right, we're going to move on to Naima. What about you? Do you have any shout outs?
Yes, I do. I definitely want to give a shout out to our executive minister, like Brother Rob, for leading, I think, ministers and evangelical workers to share this work with, so many people. Again, like I said, I'm a convert, and being able to hear the true words of God and then being able to apply them in my life and share and be an instrument for God is really beautiful. And I really appreciate being a leader in this organization as well as in my life. So thank you so much, Paul. We appreciate you. Also, I want to give a shout out to Brother Cammy, who's the minister, I want to say, in Haiti. And he has also been helping one of my friends really come to understand the words of God. So thank you so much for that. And the local congregation of Winslow, whoop, whoop. I want to shout out Winslow for just always being supportive and welcome me from my former local congregation of Philadelphia. Thank you, Gloria. Thank you.
All right, on to Marisol for her shout outs.
Naima, we are so blessed to have you in our local congregation. So shout out to all my friends who are watching. Special mention to Elsie Meneses and Rosalie Harker. Thank you so much for watching. And to my family, Brother Brian, thank you for watching. And to the Winslow congregation, have a blessed Saturday.
Awesome. All right. Last but not least, Brother Jeff.
Well, you'll be we'll turn it over to you because I'm sure you have shout outs. But, greetings, of course, to and from Bergen and the Fernandez families here. Greetings also to someone out there. She's actually at work now, so hope you're having a good day at work. And got some birthdays coming. So happy birthday to Robin Lucas, my brother-in-law over in Qatar. Happy birthday also to Brother Jameen Augustine over in Qatar also. Happy birthday to Donnie Paras over in San Fernando, Pampanga. Happy birthday to Bergen's own Eileen Tubale, and then also formerly from Bergen, Micah DePano. Happy birthday. Hope we will see you again on INCRadio. And also Carolyn Shank over on the West Coast, and former New Jerseyan Rome Gavantina. Happy birthday to all, and hope everyone's having a great day. Over to you, Leah.
All right, thanks so much. We actually have a lot of comments today to read, but first we're going to go to our CFO in action because we have been doing so much in our district. So to our tech, go ahead and play that video.
CFO in action.
The members of the Church of Christ in the District of New Jersey recently gathered for a special movie night as they watched the worldwide premiere of Sebsi's latest film, Haligi. Haligi unravels the story of fathers, affectionately referred to as haligi ng tahanan in Filipino, or pillars of the household. The pillar of the household which cannot be shaken by the storms of life. Haligi is a film that reflects the current life situations, a life full of problems, trials, and failures, and how we should deal with these things positively by fully trusting that God can turn all things for the good of those who love Him and give them a gracious and blessed future full of hope. As they watched the movie together, they were deeply moved by the powerful storytelling and inspiring themes of faith, hope, and resilience. The movie night became a meaningful opportunity for fellowship and reflection as members discussed the film's impact and how it reinforced their commitment to their faith and community. It was a memorable evening of entertainment, inspiration, and spiritual growth for the Church of Christ members. The members of the CWS and CSD organization conducted sign language tutorial this past weekend. Words that included about family, worship service, and church terms were taught through videos. It is important to teach sign language while a child is young because it improves confidence, helps children express themselves, increases cognitive development, and most importantly, create an inclusive environment. The children of the CWS organization showed nothing but smiles during this very interactive activity. The members of the Church of Christ in the local congregation of Aston in the District of New Jersey recently gathered for a fun-filled day of fellowship and friendly competition at a volleyball clinic. Participants of all skills came together to learn new techniques, practice their serves, and enjoy each other's company. The clinic emphasized teamwork, sportsmanship, and Christian values. As they played and learned together, the members strengthened their bonds and created lasting memories. The event was a great success, and everyone left feeling uplifted and already looking forward to the next clinic. The local congregation of Bergen celebrated their 9th anniversary with a lovely summer day at Darlington County Park, known as Bergen County's Summertime Jewel. Young and old, the brethren enjoyed the midday with lots of food and refreshment under the trees. The children even swam and built sandcastles at a man-made beach by the lakeside.
The married couples of the Church of Christ in the District of New Jersey recently convened for their monthly meeting focusing on the vital topic of loyalty to God and to the church administration. With open hearts and minds, they delved into the discussions on the importance of unwavering commitment to their faith and the leadership that guides them. Through scriptures, the couples encouraged one another to remain steadfast in their devotion, just as God remains faithful to His people. They also explored ways to support the church administration, recognizing the value of unity and cooperation in their spiritual journey. As they left the meeting, the couples felt rejuvenated, reaffirming their pledge to stand together in loyalty and service to God and the Church of Christ. The members of the Church of Christ recently gathered for a fun-filled day of fellowship and friendly competition at Top Golf. With golf clubs in hand, they enjoyed a unique and entertaining experience, trying their best to hit targets and score points. The relaxed atmosphere allowed for great conversation and bonding as members of all ages and skill levels came together to enjoy each other's company. Between swings and laughter, they shared stories, supported one another, and created lasting memories. The Top Golf outing proved to be a fantastic way for the Church of Christ members to connect outside of their regular worship services, strengthening their relationships and building a stronger sense of community. In uniting with the activities launched for the Christian family organizations, the District of New Jersey conducted CFO Family Fun Day, an activity for all the CFO members in the district. The brethren came together to host a fun-filled family day. The event featured friendly food competitions, which showcased their diverse culinary skills. In addition to the delicious food, the day was packed with exciting games and activities. The event provided a wonderful opportunity for members of the church to bond and create lasting memories with their families and friends, while also fostering a sense of community and togetherness within the church.
Led by District Minister Brother Alex M. Reyes, the brethren in the District of New Jersey continue to be united and active in participating with all activities approved by the church administration.
And this was our CFO in action the last weeks. From the District of New Jersey, this is Sister Marisol Dagatot and Brother Jeffrey Fernandez. More on CFO in action next week. See ya!
All right, and that's not the only thing happening in the district. There are some other activities. So, letting you know, this weekend is the Kadiwa monthly meeting. So if you are single and above the age of 18, that meeting is for you. And tomorrow, Sunday, is the special gathering for multi-media, so we will see a bunch of you there. And on Sunday, September 29, is the district pickleball tournament. So we know pickleball's been popular, so get your paddles, get your balls ready, and get your game on. We'll see you at the pickleball tournament. And as usual, please check with your local congregation for the details on local events and daily Bible study schedule. All right, over to you, Leah.
Okay, so real quick, we want to say hello to those in our live chat. We want to say hello to Ava Evangelista. We want to say hello to Sister Mayan Manzano Guerzon in Philadelphia. We also want to say hello to Lonnie from LIC, Mario Oka from the locale of Brixtonville in the district of Caloocan North. Also, hello to April May Lopez from Ordineta City in Pangasinan. We also want to say hello to Brother Jerome Alagay here in Elizabeth. We also want to say hello to Gigi Fajardo, Elsie Meneses, Edwin Peralta, Heidi. Is this your friend, Marisol? Heidi Hart. Is it Heidi Hart? I can't pronounce it.
It's Rosalie Harker. Or
Rosalie
Harker.
Harker. Hello. I didn't want to say that wrong. We also want to say hello to Michelle Rizal, who has been hashtagging. And sadly, we're at the end of our show, so I'm going to toss it over to Marisol for closing.
Well, yeah, that was so fast. And that's it for today's show. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, and thank you to our church administration for their continuous support to INCRadio and allowing us to have this show where we can stay connected and learn together. Especially thank our beloved Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo Manalo, and our SEBSI President and CFO Coordinator, Brother Angelo Manalo.
And before we say goodbye, we again thank all of our viewers for taking the time to watch the show. We hope today's topic has been able to give us all reasons to appreciate our leaders and lead with love, and also inspiration for us to lead with love in our own lives. See you on next show. See you on next episode of INCRadio New Jersey.
Take care, everyone. Thanks, Brother Robert.
This is INCRadio, DZEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.